Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fatville, and we need to talk about some of the mistakes I think players are falling into, and these are things that I think have come about more recently. That with your changes with these new Galactic Chases for the Leviathan, you've got the Crate Dragon and the Raid Reward change, and then even just general stuff, I think that there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of pitfalls that players are going to fall into if you're not careful. So let's dive right into our video. Again, for those of you who've been on the channel a while, you know that our King is going to be hitting Relic 8 on June 5th at 5:30 Eastern Time. We'll be doing a Grand Arena stream. We'll do other stuff after that. It's going to be a fun day. Very excited to take Wampa to Relic 8 there, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Alright, now let's talk about these mistakes. The first one we're going to go to is the Guild Store. With this new change in currency where you're going to be able to pick your raid rewards, I think one of the big mistakes players are going to make, and I've seen it already, is you're going to only pick the flashy gear. So you could pick anything you want out of this, and you're only going to pick the flashy gear. The stuff that you always think you need. And you're not necessarily going to grab some of the gear that you still need, just that you were getting naturally through the game. That in the old raid system, yes, they were randomized, but part of that randomized nature was that you accumulated some of these pieces over time that maybe you didn't always need right away, or that you were able to use for relic materials or whatever. And I think you're going to need to continually ensure that you're buying some of these pieces, like this piece, right? Okay, I don't need to buy, I've got 350. But something like this, I should probably pick these up, because I'm going to need them eventually, right? You know, that you're going to need to buy some of those pieces that aren't as, like this piece. I always need this, right? But I'm used to always needing that. I'm not used to ever really needing to worry about this piece or this piece, that when these start dwindling, you need to make sure that you're purchasing them, that you have enough of them to continually advance your account. That's going to be a big problem. I also want to go down here into your, core gear. And one of the big ones is this Mark 7 Nubian scanner salvage. This was something that was randomized through the, heroic pit raid, I think. I'm trying to find where there's more of it. Right here, right? This was randomized through the heroic pit raid. If you're not careful, and you're not buying this stuff because you're only going to buy Carbonis, you're going to run out of these things. And these aren't available anywhere else. This isn't on a node, right? They're not available like Carbonis are, where Carbonis are so many different locations. These scanners are only inside of the guild store. So, this pitfall I think players are going to fall into if you're not careful is you're going to treat this like you're still getting those random rewards that you didn't have to think about before, like these pieces, right? Some of these biotech implants, these electro binoculars. I'm not saying you need to go and hoard to 1,000 by any stretch, or that you need to have crazy numbers of them. But make sure you're still buying them. Make sure you're still putting thought into that, because they will come back to bite you, because they're not elsewhere. Whereas stun guns, stun cuffs, Carbonis, all of those things are available through daily challenges. They're plentiful in other areas. These pieces are not. So make sure you're spending this raid currency wisely, right? I'm going to buy these. I'm going to start stockpiling some of this stuff that I know that I would get naturally through my time of playing raids. It's just something that I feel very passionate about right now, that if you're not careful, you're going to end up running out of gear that's going to be important for you later on down the road. That's why I'm buying some of this stuff that, some of these pieces you're like, oh, Phil, that's not as flashy, but it's stuff I need, right? And it's stuff I'm going to need, and I don't want to run out. So just make sure you're being smart with this. All right, the next piece of advice I have is these Galactic Chase events. So we have the TIE Dagger going on right now, and we also are going to have another one. If you're someone who's chasing Leviathan, like myself, I'm planning to get Leviathan day one, if I can, right? Depending on, obviously, relic requirements notwithstanding. So I'm willing to rush these things because I need them. But if you're not rushing Leviathan, if that's just not an option for you, do not spend ludicrous amounts of resources on this ship to rush through it if you can't get Leviathan early on. Because the people that are rushing this ship, right, the reason we're spending 5,000 crystals to obtain this ship is because Leviathan's going to give us an advantage. and that we can get it early, and that's what we're paying for. Yes, this is cheaper. Like, spending 5,000 crystals for this is cheaper than other ways of whaling. But those 5,000 crystals could get you so many other things if you're smart with them. So I wish I could have done this video earlier. It's just been a crazy, you guys know it's been a crazy time. But for this next Galactic Chase as well, don't be rushing into that ship unless you know for certain that it's something that you're going to be able to use and get like really good use out of, because those crystals can be so well better spent on other things, because you're basically just paying to rush this ship to 7-star. And yes, while it's cheaper than marquee packs and all that, it's still a lot of resources to be spending. So I want to make that known to everybody, right? I want to make sure that everybody fully understands that it is something that you're going to have to think about, right? I mean, that you can't just like pretend that this isn't going to happen. And then this last thing that I want to kind of mention a little bit, I'm going to go to my journey guide here, is that there's a lot going on in Galaxy of Heroes. We're still waiting for Grand Inquisitor to hit the journey guide. Like, you go to this journey guide, and the Grand Inquisitor event is still not available, right? So we're still waiting on Grand Inquisitor to come back around. We're waiting for Leviathan. We got this new crate raid. We've speculated for how long that Red 5 was going to be here, where everybody thinks there's a new Galactic Legend coming. You've got Cal Kestis still down the line. There is a lot going on. You need to stay focused. Whether it's to your farming guide, whether it's to your farming plan, stay focused. If you get distracted now, you are going to set yourself back months because you got distracted. I preach this all the time, but I think now more than ever, the state of this game, you cannot afford to waste time on something. It's why right now I'm not committing to another Galactic Legend. It's why I'm not even taking my Inquisitors beyond Relic 5 until we get Grand Inquisitor and then we figure out what Leviathan requirements are. Because if Leviathan requirements aren't that bad, I'll throw resources at that first and then go get my Inquisitors up and running later. But if Leviathan comes out and they're like, oh, you need 4 Relic 9s and 2 Relic 8s, okay, well, that's a much longer term project, and I'll have to eat my words and say that I shouldn't have rushed TIE Dagger. We don't know. But don't waste resources on something. Don't commit to something that you don't know. This is something I've seen a lot of people with, like a Relic 9 Darth Revan or Relic 9 Malgus, because they think that's going to be something for Leviathan. Just save those resources. Save your resources. We don't know what they are yet. You can speculate all you want, but Capital Games is smart. They're going to know exactly what characters they're going to require you to relic, because they want to make the most money possible with this stuff. So please, right now, don't be stupid and waste resources. Stay focused, right? Get on the task at hand, figure out what you're going to do next, and just keep those horse blinders on if you can't obtain some of these things. If you don't even have Darth Malgus, just ignore these Galactic Chases like they never happened. Otherwise, you are going to be in a huge heap of trouble. So that's the FAQ. You guys let me know what your thoughts are. I'm not even an FAQ, really. I guess it's more of a, mistakes. I don't know. It's 3 of them. It's kind of like an FAQ, but not really. Yeah, guys, those are just 3 mistakes to avoid right now. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. As always, smash that subscribe button, leave likes, leave comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.